Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Tuesday Swoop here on the Solano College Sports Network. My name is Cameron Harrison, here with Zay Randle, Blake Molina, Garrison Glenn, and we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL Draft, which concluded and happened last week, and then also some trades in the NFL, and a lot of NBA playoff talk because there's a lot going on in the playoffs right now. So first off, the NFL Draft, a lot of trades in the first round, a lot of craziness. Blake, I'll start out with you because I know you're a big fan of the NFL Draft. Who are some of the winners and losers in your thoughts?
Well, just to get off the table, because it's the most obvious, I think the Eagles won the draft. Just from what they did with the defense, bringing in more of those Georgia guys, they're kind of the clear cut, so I'm going to steer away from them. But they did phenomenal, and I do agree they won the draft. I'll pivot and go, I like Seattle as a winner.
Mm-hmm.
I think them getting Jackson Smith, Devin Witherspoon being the first corner off the board for me was a little surprising because I liked Gonzalez. But like we talked about in the boardroom, I think either or would have been fine at that pick. It's just who you prefer. Mm-hmm. So I'll give Seattle the win behind Philly. And I think everybody really had a solid draft. There wasn't too many losers. I don't think anybody lost too bad. But winner-wise, the Eagles dominated. And I will give the Texans their props, though. Going C.J. Stroud and then being that team that trades with the Cardinals was very surprising to get Will Anderson Jr. That had DeMeco Ryans' fingerprints all over that, so that shows he's really in control and has good control of this team. So I'd say those are a couple winners for me.
I agree, actually, with pretty much everything you said. I like the Eagles in terms of what they did for move-wise, not really competitive-wise as a Niners fan, but in terms of what they did to get better, they did that, and they accomplished their goal for sure. Having Jalen Carter on your team automatically makes your defense even more better than what it already is. So that's what stuck out to me with the Eagles. Seattle was actually my clear-cut winner in terms of what they did to put pieces around them, especially with the defense. I really like Devin Witherspoon. Linking up with Tariq Woolen, I think that young core of defensive players is insanely good and will be really good for a long period of time. I like what Seattle's doing with them. And then I also liked what Carolina did, just drafting Bryce Young. I know it's kind of he was the second one, right? No, he was the first.
No,
he was the first
draft,
one.
yeah.
I felt like that was a smart move on Carolina's part. They addressed it. They addressed a need they needed, or they addressed one of their needs in getting a quarterback. And I also like what the Texans did, getting C.J. Stroud.
And to your point, the Panthers also went out in the second round and got Jonathan Mingo, the receiver from Ole Miss. So they got Bryce Young, a weapon. Yes. Obviously lost DJ Moore. They brought in Adam Thielen, though, who's going to be a savvy vet. Obviously,
right.
Seems like he's been on the decline, but yeah, I really agree with that.
Yeah, I actually agree with both the teams that you said. Other than the Eagles, I was going to talk about Seattle. They brought in a nice cornerback and they brought in a nice receiver, and that's exactly what they needed. And I kind of feel like they've taken the blueprint from the Eagles, and right now the Eagles are saying that they're all in, they want to win, they're making all the right moves. And I think a lot of teams need to follow this blueprint, and I think it's going to work out for them. And then I want to talk about Houston, too. Obviously, picking up the quarterback, which they needed. They needed, obviously, so bad. Right?
Man.
Yeah.
That's been a big spot for them for the last, 4 or 5 years, or ever since Deshaun, really, right?
Yeah. Ever since he left.
So then, other than that, they also got Alabama linebacker Henry To'o. I play high school football with him, and he's a beast. I'm telling you, he's going to come in, and he's going to make an automatic impact immediately. He's a dog. So I really like what the Texans did, and I really like what Seattle did.
So.
I agree. I really like the Seahawks. I think they hit the jackpot 2 years in a row now. Remember last year they took Woolen and Kenneth Walker, who was a huge playmaker, and JSN could be a big playmaker like that too. I was really shocked that receivers slid that far.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know the last time we've seen the first receiver taken in the 20th pick of the draft, right?
It's been a while.
And the weird thing too is it seems like the blueprint is these young wide receivers making a huge impact, and a lot of these teams were selecting offensive linemen. 2 running backs went in the top 12. I was very shocked that the Lions took Gibbs.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit of a reach, in my opinion.
I thought that was the most shocking pick of the first round.
I think the reasoning behind that, Cam, is why the receivers are dropping down is because these receivers are coming out so talented these days. Real talented, nice, crisp. They're smart, intelligent, know when to stop their routes, take their routes, and extend it across the field and whatnot. So I feel like the NFL is kind of they're about to get a little spoiled with all this new talent at the skill positions, and that's why they can drop a little bit because they need the big guys, which if you got a dominant big guy, they're hard to come by.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
I was gonna say they might assume like they can probably get a better wide receiver on like the free agent market later on down the line. Since you said the wide receivers are so good, they might not want to try and take that risk and get a wide receiver, as opposed to like them. That might not be one of their needs that they need to get. So they might need to get like an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman or somebody else at a different position other than wide receiver.
I was surprised because it seems like the method for drafting running backs is to get a second, third, fourth round guy, kind of wait for a running back. But, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously a very talented running back and was listed as the second best running back in the class behind Bijan Robinson, who's supposed to be, generational talent.
Yes.
And I'm not super shocked that the Falcons went Bijan Robinson. It seemed like a really good fit. Arthur Smith, he was in Tennessee as the offensive coordinator and had Derrick Henry. He's the head coach for the Falcons. And the one thing that did kind of shock me was the Packers going Lucas Van Ness with pick number 13. This is a guy who was, really good in college at Iowa, but he was projected to be a second-round guy, and I was a little shocked by that. The other thing that really surprised me was the Commanders getting Emmanuel Forbes, one pick before Christian Gonzalez. We talked about it. I think Christian Gonzalez was my favorite cornerback coming out of this draft class, but the guy in front of him, or that would be reasonable to take in front of him, was Devin Witherspoon, who went with the fifth pick to the Seahawks. So I was a little surprised the Commanders went Emmanuel Forbes instead of Christian Gonzalez, who ends up going to the Patriots. So he's probably going to be one of the best corners of all time now.
If I can if I can piggyback off the Commanders too, one thing that kind of shocked me with them too, and I think Tampa Bay might have been in that area. They might have had their pick later. I wasn't too sure. I was very surprised those two in particular though passed on Levis, even maybe Hendon Hooker. I know like it kind of where they ended up. Like Levis kind of slid to the second round. Tennessee traded up for him, which I thought was a solid landing spot. I wasn't too big on Levis, but going back and looking at it, like Hendon Hooker, like he was a late first round pick. He was mocked, in the 20s, and then he goes to the second to Detroit, which is a good landing spot and good value. I mean, that was surprising, but at the same time, where these QBs ended up, maybe not so much. But I still think Washington maybe should have probably pulled the trigger and took Levis.
Yeah, I agree, because Sam Howell is the quarterback right now?
I like
Jacoby Brissett. Brissett's a solid veteran.
It's Sam Howell. They're starting him.
So Brissett's gonna be like a veteran presence.
Yeah,
the bridge,
probably
I
might
guess.
come in for injury. The Bucs signed Baker Mayfield, I believe, so he's probably gonna be their quarterback.
Yeah.
And they have the other guy that was a late round pick,
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, that's right, out of Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Yep. I was a little surprised. I do like Quentin Johnston, but I think the Chargers was a little bit weird of a fit to me. They already kind of have a Quentin Johnston and Mike Williams, and so I don't know if this is the writing on the wall that they might move on from Mike Williams.
This? For the last season, 2 seasons, how long have they been healthy?
Right,
how many
that is
games
true.
have they played together?
No, that's true.
It's
Keenan Allen
very
and Mike
small.
Williams have not been on the field together very long.
So, with that being said, if they got a guy that's kind of built like this dude, a bigger, faster guy, then he would fit in that offense perfectly, especially when you got these injury-prone guys. And then they can learn. Keenan Allen's one of the greatest receivers in the NFL right now, arguably of all time. His route running is amazing. So, I mean, bringing a young guy like him in, and then he gets to watch Keenan Allen work, I feel like that's fantastic.
That's true. I liked Zay Flowers a little bit more. He went one pick after to the Ravens, which could be really scary.
Yeah,
adding
I like
that
that.
speed but I think Zay Flowers would have been a good fit. I mean, really on any team, but especially with the Chargers coming out of the slot, because you usually have Keenan and Mike Williams on the outside. If you had Zay Flowers in the slot, that would have been pretty scary.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
For the receivers, that that especially that run where they went 23, I felt like all the
4 straight.
receivers they went to like good landing spots. I don't think any of them really went to a spot where they have no chance or it was a bad pick or anything.
Yeah.
I agree with you with the Chargers. He was my least of those 4. I really liked Zay Flowers. I like Jordan Addison. Jackson Smith probably shouldn't have been there. That's kind of your own opinion, but I don't think he should have been there at 20. So, but after that, I mean, I just felt like Zay Flowers going to Baltimore. That's a scary destination.
Yeah.
I think it is huge.
Yeah.
Him, Odell, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews. They get the running game healthy with J.K. Dobbins. That offense is
All
scary.
with Lamar at the helm.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
They're
We'll
good.
see.
Speaking of Jordan Addison, Blake, your Vikings, 23rd pick. You picked Jordan Addison. How do you feel about that selection for the Vikings?
I was happy. I wanted 3 guys. 2 of them I just talked about in the quarterbacks, but after seeing them fall and, Addison getting drafted there, I was happy. No complaints. I am still on the quarterback train, first round quarterback, but hopefully next year. If not, I really don't know what to think. But I thought Jordan Addison, the pick itself was good because I felt like, too, and it's no offense to any of those receivers because I would like a Zay Flowers or Jackson Smith, but Addison I felt fits the best next to Justin Jefferson. He's going to take potentially some of that pressure off, hopefully, so Jefferson can still operate and Addison can, potentially be kind of an under-the-radar 1,000-yard receiver. I even think he could be, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I thought overall it was a good pick and good value.
Any other selections you guys liked? Any teams that you thought drafted well? Or
I do got one more.
Yeah.
I really liked the tight end addition for the Raiders, Michael Mayer. I thought that
Michael
was
Myers good.
Yeah, great value. He potentially slid a little bit, but that was a great pick for them. And that's probably the best replacement you can have for Darren Waller. As a rookie coming in, he's going to be good.
Yeah, he was. I think he was projected the second best, I guess, except behind
I like
Dalton
him
Kincaid.
I
but
like him.
they can go back and forth.
I like him a little better than Kincaid, but Buffalo taking Kincaid, I still think that's a great pick too.
Yeah,
so
just another big body up the middle.
Yeah,
for Josh
even those
Allen.
picks flipped. Like let's just say those 2 flipped. I still think those are both picks for both teams.
I think overall, I would agree. The Eagles, especially the fact that they only had to trade up to 9 from 10 to 9 to get Jalen Carter, who was projected the best player in this draft a couple months ago before a lot of the off the field stuff, and then also to get Nolan Smith at 30, who was before his injury last year also one of the best defensive players in college football. I think that's just nuts. The fact that they just stick to the Georgia theme and potentially get 2 of the best players, 2 of the best defensive players in this draft.
And to feed off of the Georgia players, I like what the Steelers did in drafting Broderick Jones, another offensive lineman for Georgia, and I feel like just being a part of that Georgia team that went back to back, you're already going to be solid, and I think you're already going to be solid in the NFL. I think it's definitely going to help the Steelers be able to make sure that Kenny Pickett has a little more time than what he did last season. And also I like what they did in drafting Joey Porter, corner from corner in the second round, drafting the 32nd pick. I think he'll be able to help Minkah Fitzpatrick and Tremaine Edmonds in that defense as well.
Yeah, they got 3 really good guys. They also got Darnell Washington, the big tight end.
That was a steal in my opinion.
Yeah,
that was
he could be really good. And then lastly, Anthony Richardson of the Colts. I love this.
I
think
too.
this is awesome. I'm a huge Anthony Richardson fan. I hope he balls out in Indianapolis, and
I agree.
he could have a situation where he can sit for a year and start next year. We'll see how quickly they throw him in the fire. It could be week 12, week 13 kind of thing, depending on how bad they are. But I think this is great. We've seen the sort of rotation of veteran quarterbacks who can't stay healthy and are definitely on the decline.
The QB carousel for the Colts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The revolving door of quarterbacks that they have. So I think this is good that really this is the last top quarterback they've selected since, Andrew Luck?
Yeah,
Man.
I think so.
That I can think,
That
I can think
And they
of.
hit
That's
on
crazy.
Andrew Luck. He just retired early. But
Very early.
Andrew Luck was a legit guy. He was
Just
he
the
was,
injuries.
Just
The
the
AFC
injuries
Championship, man.
and the team around him was not good either. He was really putting that team on his back after the turnover with Peyton Manning. Anyway, that's another topic.
He made
for another
T.Y.
day.
Hilton look a little too good.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could
See how good they
You
look
ain't got
now.
to do T.Y. like that.
No, man,
T.Y.'s not bad.
No, he's not bad, but just a little overhyped at times.
All right,
Not
so
bad,
moving on to a player that you may think is overhyped. A guy that went to the Jets this offseason.
Uh-oh.
Quarterback, we've been talking about it. Everybody's kind of known he's going to be a Jet this year. He's talked about it himself. But it is official. Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC North, and he goes to the AFC East, which has a lot of great quarterbacks in that division. What are your guys' thoughts on this? And what do you think? Who do you think won this trade, short term versus long term? Do you think the Jets maybe gave up a little too much to go get Rodgers, or do you think it's fair?
I'll start off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
The answer is hell no.
Yeah.
The Jets are ready to win right now. They were dominant on defense. They were dominant on offense. and that was without a quarterback.
Right. And before Breece Hall went out, I mean,
right,
Breece Hall was a
yeah.
big loss.
That
when
too.
he tore his ACL.
But other than that, they had about 3-4 different quarterbacks that started last year.
Yeah.
So that was the only position that they were obviously lacking in, right? So then I think bringing in the GOAT right now, I mean, Tom Brady is out the league. Next up is A-Rod, in my opinion,
And arguably the most talented quarterback.
of all time for sure.
Yeah.
I was just talking to your brother about that. But yeah, this is the winning move, and they need to win right now. And if they're able to pull this off, it's a great move. If they're not, I mean, you can see what happens with Green Bay. It might be a great move for them, but as of right now, my eyes are telling me the Jets won this trade.
For me, they went all in, and this needs to pan out. Like this has to work for the Jets, especially for Aaron Rodgers as well, because he has fewer days in front of him than he does behind him now, since he's nearing the end of his career. He's still very, very good thrower of the football. Still can be that transcendent thrower that we know. Especially with the weapons around him, they've done everything they pretty much could to satisfy his needs, and I think that Aaron Rodgers can get them deep into the playoffs. It's just, can they get over the hump of getting to a Super Bowl and winning one is the question. They have a lot of competition in that division, especially with Miami, the Bills, and not so sure on the Patriots, but especially with Miami with their addition of Jalen Ramsey. I really like what they did on that defense. I think they're going to give them some problems, and they got to see each other twice. And same with the Bills. Bills are going to be a solid team again. I'm not so sure on Josh Allen as I am with Aaron Rodgers, because I think at this point you know what you're going to get with Aaron Rodgers. But in terms of like what do I think about this whole entire trade? I like it. I want to see Aaron Rodgers do good, but at the same time it's like, hey man, clock's ticking.
Well, as a Vikings fan, I'm very excited that Aaron Rodgers is out the division. Enough terrorizing, we have unfortunately injured him a few times. I'm never big on injured players like that. I saw Anthony Barr break his collarbone, and that was horrible. So, anyways, the A-Rod story's over. So, I will say, I feel like this can be kind of, not right away down the road, this can be a win-win trade, and we'll go with the Jets. I do think they gave up a little extra capital than they may need of, but like you guys have said, this is their big win now move, and I think this was the right move. I think he's going into, like you said, they set him up well. He is very cushioned compared to when he was in Green Bay.
Absolutely.
He even brought over Alan Lazard. Right. With Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall coming back. The tight end position's a little shaky, but Rodgers never has really favored the tight end. So I think on the Jets' part, they did good. For the Packers, I'm excited because I felt like they got good return for Rodgers at his age. Yeah. And we get to see Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love a lot coming out of college. I was really mad he went to the Packers. I kind of wanted. Apparently.
I was gonna say it seemed like nobody was happy with that.
That was a dumb move. I think
he's a great quarterback. So I'm really hoping for him, and that's why I think this can be a win-win move down the line. Is because I think if Jordan Love is what he is, I think he's going to be good. Green Bay's going to be fine. They got good capital for Rodgers. They can build some pieces around him, and for the Jets, they went all in, and I think they're in really good position. And it's kind of cool as a football fan because it's a deja vu move because this is what Brett Favre did.
Yep.
So, like, now, is what's going to happen next? It's kind of
hopefully not a repeat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want Rodgers in Minnesota, so hopefully not a repeat. And then the last thing with the Jets and Rodgers, I'll say.
Maybe we'll go to the playoffs, though.
Anyways, last thing I'll say is for the Jets getting Rodgers, too, I like those matchups you were talking about in the division. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to those Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers sling-offs. Not only twice a year, too. Those are going to be fun games to watch. So I think both teams did good. I think so too. Also, if Tua can stay healthy, that's also gonna be a shootout. I think, especially with those speedy wide receivers that they got on Miami. Come on, man. The division. I mean, the Patriots are I would say they're a big question mark in the entire NFL right now. I feel like so. Yeah. Getting away from the division, But if they were somehow to maybe surprise people, I mean, we could be talking about one of the better divisions in football. For sure.
I think even without New England, I think they're still one of the better. They're quite possibly the best.
I was going to say, I think New England, though, takes them over to the top.
With the exception of the NFC East.
Right. Last year, I think that, I don't know if that's repeatable by the Giants. The Cowboys will be in it, but.
Cowboys going to be in it. Eagles. I think the Commanders are going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, they could be.
You don't think so?
Not the
I think
the
Commanders.
Be a 500 team. I don't know.
No?
I'll have to wait and see.
Well, yeah, we'll have to get into that.
I gotta see who's playing. I gotta see what their QB situation.
The Eagles are the ones to beat in that
Yeah.
division for
Oh,
sure.
hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
don't
All right.
All right.
Cowboy. I did like the Cowboys' offseason moves though.
I mean,
To get Stephon?
Stephon and Brandon Cooks. I'm a big Brandon Cooks guy, but Stephon, yeah.
I like
Stephon
Stephon. I'm
was.
not sure.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Tony Pollard don't get injured. It's a big if. But
Oh, that's
Tony Pollard
facts.
don't get injured.
Yeah.
We see them last year.
Mhm.
I mean, you got to remember these are the two juggernauts of the NFC.
Yeah.
Mm.
I kind
Two
of agree.
of three.
We
Yeah.
split.
Yeah,
That's true.
that is true.
I mean,
No, yeah, the Cowboys were really good.
and
last
now
year.
we upgraded our secondary. We got the best secondary in the league. I don't even think it's really
No,
close.
I agree with him on that one. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs.
Between our two
yeah.
corners with Trey and
Stephon.
Stephon,
Stephon,
and then we
yeah.
got our trio of safeties between right, y'all know him. But we got, we got the best safeties in the league, man. I'm telling you.
Woo.
Hey, as a
Oh, man, it's gonna be fun next
as
year.
as big as it made the headlines during draft week with the Cowboys, and the scout drafting his son, that's actually a really good pickup in general too. Like he
I
has
love
the
that.
ability to really, for Pollard to kind of step
speedy
in
back,
there and play.
Well, I think until Jerry Jones steps down, I'm not going to believe in the Cowboys, to be quite frank. But you
He's
never
been
know.
making some pretty
Think
good
you got one more
moves.
person to talk about?
Yeah, at least one. There's a
Okay.
couple.
Okay.
So moving on to additions, DeAndre Swift got traded from the Lions to the Eagles for, I believe, a fifth round pick.
A fifth, and they get a
Like a
future
seventh or-
fourth or something. No, future fifth, and they get it's a seventh in the
A
year
future
and a
fifth.
future fifth. Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely criminal that
Yeah,
the Eagles
that's
were able to just snag
very
DeAndre Swift like
Hey,
that.
that's on the Lions though. The Lions,
No, 100%.
they offer their players for free practically.
Yeah, and I think we'll see. Jahmyr Gibbs may be a really good running back, and the Lions know how to run the football.
They do.
But I don't know. I was obviously DeAndre Swift didn't have the best health in Detroit, and there were times where he was pretty inconsistent and shaky, but he's also still really young, and there's a lot of talent there, and I think the Eagles could really tap into that, and it could be really scary.
Oh, I think. It
I
could
mean,
be.
in my opinion, I think DeAndre Swift is an upgrade from Miles Sanders.
For sure.
Miles
Definitely.
Sanders is consistent, but DeAndre Swift with the explosiveness that he has and the sort of
And the passing game with him,
Yeah.
he's top tier when it
For
comes
sure.
to running backs at the backfield.
I think that's a great running. That's probably the best running back you can pair with Jalen Hurts.
Mhm.
I mean, he is quick and he's young. They can tap into that potential. The passing game. I mean, he literally does it all. It's just the health. That's the biggest question for him.
right.
I mean, I feel like it could pan out for the Lions as well, though. I mean, they also picked up Montgomery.
I was gonna
last season.
say, yeah, the Gibbs pick still is a little, kind of shocking, but that two-headed running back monster, that's a pretty good one to have if you're any team. So
And that's really the trend that's going on right now in the NFL. Is like they host two running backs right,
Right.
now,
Right.
and two main solid running backs.
And usually you either go get one out in free agency and pay him, and then get a young guy that
Yeah.
doesn't make as much money, so you can have him on the books for a long time without having to pay him top dollar.
It's
So
like kind of like what the Saints are doing right now with Jamal Williams. What Jamal Williams has
yeah,
done with the Lions too.
right.
the Saints have been doing it way back. They used to run the three running backs. That's what I liked. I liked when they would have like the three guys and they can just. It was Sproles, Mark Ingram, and one other guy, and they would just run
Right.
that guys in, and they were always resting. They were playing. So I like the two man trend though that it's going with the running back. And yeah, you pay one and then go draft another. I mean that's the smartest thing you can do.
Since we're talking about the Saints, I just want to give out a shout out to two of my boys. They ended up getting drafted both by the Saints. Jay Kaner, quarterback that I played with, that's my guy.
Really?
Oh.
Right.
Oh, okay.
They picked up Isaiah Foskey. I also played with him. He was out of Notre Dame. And then Fresno State, that's where Jake Tanner came out of. So
Yeah.
both Saints and then Fresno State, that's where Derek Carr came from. So
Right.
they got to link up, and that was kind of a cool moment to watch. Just wanted to give out a shout out to the Saints for doing that.
Yeah, the
Shout out to them.
Fresno State quarterback, that was actually a good spot for him, and he gets to learn behind another guy that went to Fresno and Carr.
Right.
So I think there's a chance there if something happens with Carr that they can plug him in. And he was solid. I mean, he was late in the draft, but I mean he was a pretty solid quarterback.
I'm
in.
telling you right now, he's legit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch out, Derek Carr.
Yeah, I want to see it.
All right, and then Lamar Jackson
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
finally got paid, highest paid player in NFL history. It seems like every week there's a new highest paid player in NFL
Yeah,
history.
there really
Yeah.
is.
Jalen Hurts at first, and
Yeah.
then it seemed really like the Jalen Hurts contract helped build the Lamar Jackson contract. You wonder if maybe they're waiting for that deal to be done first so that they could sort of mimic it and see how that deal went on. Because obviously, I mean, you know, Jalen Hurts led his team to the Super Bowl, but also Lamar Jackson's an MVP. So, you know, it's like I think it's warranted that Lamar Jackson's getting more money than Jalen Hurts. Not to, like, you know, count people's money, but what are your guys' thoughts on it? I mean, I'm assuming we all sort of love this, that Lamar is staying with the Ravens. It seems like the best fit, the best spot for him right now, being that the Jets weren't an option. And, you know, it seems like a lot of teams already have their quarterback situation figured out.
Right. I mean, when all the drama was going down, I was like, he should try to mess around and go land down with the Saints down in New Orleans before they made all the moves and picked up all the extra quarterbacks and everything. I thought that was going to be his landing spot for some reason, but I love the fact that he stayed in Baltimore. They get to build around him. They finally paid him after all the drama. And this is the youngest MVP, I'm pretty sure, ever, right? He's the youngest MVP ever. He's worth every dollar. In my eyes, he's the best quarterback in the league. So, I mean, I feel like he's worth everything. I love it.
With the contract that Jalen Hurts got, I felt like it kind of, like you said, it built up some, I guess, more drama for Lamar. I didn't like how long it took, but I'm glad that he finally got his money. It's kind of like the situation with the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. He has to go prove it now. Again. Because now since they gave him all that money, and now he's definitely under the microscope for sure. And it's like, okay, this is the money that we're giving you. This is a lot of security that we're giving you. You have to produce. They want to go win now, as well as like most other teams in the league, especially.
Let me stop you right there. I think he already proved everything he's needed to prove, and I feel like when we talk about Baltimore, they haven't made the right moves at all. You see, you got a quarterback that could legit be one of the greatest of all time, like legit.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. This is a generational talent. But you haven't really built anything around them. They're finally starting to add a little pieces and whatnot. But you've had them for years. You've had a lot of time to make major moves, and he was winning without anybody around him.
Right.
He had one tight end. That's his best friend.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. Like, other than that, you had 3, 4, 5 different running backs, in and out, people on the line. Your defense been consistent, but they've been a liability.
Right.
I mean, Lamar's put the entire organization on his back for the last 4 or 5 years, and I feel like he's shown everything that he's needed to show.
I think it is really similar with Aaron Rodgers because you say all that and you can almost substitute Aaron Rodgers' name in that conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. You would think that we were talking about him.
I mean, when was the last time the Packers drafted a receiver in the first round? I think it was 2007 or something.
Yeah.
I don't even remember his name, but
either.
It's been over a decade, almost 2 decades since they drafted a playmaker, and I think this is big. Obviously, the OBJ signing is huge. Yep. He got a lot of money, but if he produces like he did when he was healthy, it's definitely warranted. And getting Zay Flowers is huge, I think, because he's an explosive runner. He's going to be very similar to maybe a Bateman.
Do they have Duvernay still on their roster?
They have Duvernay, Bateman.
I love Duvernay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Hopefully a healthy J.K. Dobbins, if he can stay healthy this year. He's one of the more electric running backs in the NFL. So I really like this for Lamar and for the Ravens because they're contenders every year, and they just need to keep adding and adding instead of trying to blow everything up and just a lot of drama. It's like you got to just progressively get better and better.
Yeah, well, for me, I think you guys kind of said everything that needs to be said. I do agree that Baltimore was really his best landing spot. There were a couple other teams. I thought, not being biased, I thought Minnesota would be a solid landing spot if we had a legit chance to trade for him. I mean, you're getting put into high-octane offense. Jordan Addison would have got drafted, Dalvin Cook, but Baltimore's definitely his best fit. Him giving input to get Zay Flowers at 22 was really big. That shows, like, we're not just paying you to shut you up. We're paying you because you're our guy and we want to help you out.
Right.
So for him to, pretty much go to brass and go, look, I want him. I don't want nobody else. And they automatically say, okay, we're going to go get you Zay Flowers. That's pretty big. So, yeah, Baltimore's the winner and Lamar's a winner. And I think they're going to be contender. They're always a contender no matter what.
I think the organization, that's huge for an organization to really trust your quarterback because that's how it really should be for most organizations is to sort of cater around your quarterback because that is the most important. As much as you want to dance around it and say everybody's important, it's a team game. it's a quarterback-driven league for the most part.
It goes to the quarterback.
And so the fact that, and again, sort of going back to Aaron Rodgers, the fact that, he didn't have a lot of input in who they would get. They would kind of get guys behind his back, and that's definitely not a good look. But for the Ravens to go get Zay Flowers, the guy that Lamar wanted, is huge. Another similar situation that is a little interesting because of how he's been acting and treating his franchise. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, they trade up and got Paris Johnson Jr., who I think is a good pick. It's really good. I think he was the best offensive lineman in the draft.
Yeah.
Go and get him, dominant left tackle from Ohio State. But, he is your franchise quarterback, Kyler Murray. But there's also, it's a little iffy. When you have a clause to watch film in your contract, that's, that I don't feel 100% great about that. And when he's on the field, when he's healthy, he's a great quarterback, and there's no way around it. But I think it's still surprising that the Cardinals. He is their quarterback, so I guess you do cater to Kyler Murray, even if you don't fully agree with all the stuff he does off the field or on the field. But
Go ahead. I'm not so sure how I feel about Kyler. Because I like his talent. He's a immensely talented quarterback. His antics and how he dealt with the whole Cliff Kingsbury situation, that wasn't something I particularly was fond of. And I was like, okay, they've been going at it, and to go at it on national television and to say and do what he did, I was like, whoa, that's interesting. I do like the acquisition that you said that they did to go get him. It's just there's a big question mark around Kyler Murray. I feel like I'm not so sure how what's his ceiling.
Yeah, and there's also in his time they've been projected to be one of the better teams in football, and now they're probably one of the worst teams in football, especially without Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Obviously he wasn't healthy, so that changes a lot of things, and there was a lot of rumors about D-Hop leaving, getting traded to the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens, some contender. It does seem like, from what I've heard recently, that he's not going to get traded. They're going to still ride with him in Arizona, but we'll see how all that pans out. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have NBA playoffs on the other side. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Tuesday Swoop here on the Solano College Sports Network, and we're going to dive straight into the NBA playoffs, which are going on right now. And as of the recording today, it's Tuesday, May 2nd, so it'll be Game 1, Warriors versus Lakers. Spoiler, the Warriors beat the Kings in Game 7 on Sunday. Final score of 120-100. So let's talk about it. I think the last episode we did, which was on Thursday, it was right before Game 6, where I think a lot of us thought the Warriors were going to close it out at home. I think yourself included. It seemed you were already saying your goodbyes.
Oh, I was waving the white flag, yeah.
You were totally waving the white flag, but you had another chance in Game 7 just to sort of break your heart a little bit.
A little extra heartbreak.
So let's dive into it. 120-100. This is going to be recognized as the Curry game. Steph drops 50 in Game 7, the most points in a Game 7 of all time. KD, his ex-teammate, had 48 against Milwaukee in 2021. I believe that was the game where he stepped on the three-point line.
Yeah.
The toe game.
Yeah.
That could have changed.
Was that the toe game where he dropped 48?
Yeah. They went to overtime, so he had some extra time to get that 48. But
I didn't know that was a toe.
other ones, I believe, Dominique Wilkins in 88, I believe, going against Larry Bird. In the Eastern Conference Finals, he had 47 and lost in that game to the Celtics. That was an all-time great. I'm sure Pops can appreciate me talking about that. Anyway, Warriors-Kings. Any thoughts on this Game 7? Or you know, is it still too soon for you to?
I mean, you know what? The Kings overachieved. They were projected 33, 34 wins. They went on to 48. They almost were pushing 50. I didn't even think they were going to push 50 like that. I just had them getting in the playoffs and at least getting 40 wins. So as a fan, I mean, yeah, it sucks, but you have to look at it from – you have to look at the positives, and it's you went 7 games with the defending champs.
Sir.
Not in a bad way at all, because it was a great individual performance, but their best player, one of the best players of all time, had to drop a masterclass 50 points to beat you.
Yes.
I know it was a 20-point blowout, but still. And so you just go into next season with more hope, and you just got to think, you know, Monty McNair, the general manager of the Kings, is going to reload the roster, whether it's in the draft, free agency, trades. You know, he's going to reload the roster, kind of like how he did to build up the roster we have now. So as a Kings fan, it's a success. It hurts, but, I mean, what were the realistic expectations besides making the playoffs? I mean, you know, they had us getting swept 4-0.
I mean, but there's the truth that if you get out of the first round, you know, Lakers, Nuggets, those are winnable series. I mean,
we were 3-1 against the Lakers on the season. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, you know, just like, you know, you don't want to overdo it. So just for what the Kings did in the season, it's a success.
Yeah.
And yes, it does stink to lose a 7-game series to the Warriors. You know, that would have been huge. It would have been talked about for years and years. But, you know, it is what it is. You're a new team, and I have no doubt they're going to be back there next year, whether they're the 3rd seed or the 6th seed, whatever it is. They're going to be a playoff team going forward, though.
The Kings fans have nothing to hold their heads, like nothing to be sad about. This was, like you said, a success. I thought the Kings were going to be better than they were last year, but not this good. They gave Warriors a run for their money big time throughout this entire playoff series. And like you said, Steph had to drop 50, and if he didn't, they needed all 50 points from Steph in order to win that game.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
They technically
They won by
didn't.
20.
They technically didn't. That's the first thing I said when I walked
They won.
in.
Yeah, they won by
when I walked
20,
in the
but
studio today, but
He played an extra 5 minutes to get that 50.
it was 2 minutes. He played an extra 2 minutes to get a
He
bucket.
played an extra 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get
Well,
All right,
okay,
well, he
so-
would have had 48.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if he doesn't drop that 50, you think they still win that game?
The difference too, I'm gonna jump in
Okay,
here.
go ahead,
The momentum that Steph brought in all those 50 points is what made a difference, because
Right.
you know, I think I texted the group chat. I was like, you know, basically like it's wraps at the beginning of the 4th quarter. I thought the Kings were cooked because they lost all the momentum. All the air in the building was gone based off of the Looney offensive rebounds. When Looney got the board, passed out to Steph, he missed the 3, and then Wiggins tried to dunk it on the
my
putback.
God. If he
And then it
made
goes
that,
back to
ooh,
Steph. He
yeah.
catches it like Willie Mays and turns around and goes to the cup and scores over Sabonis. That was ball game in my opinion. So, although he didn't need to drop 50 necessarily for them to win. You know, like similar, we'll get into another guy who had 45 last night, and they did need every 45 because it came down to the wire. I still think the fact that he had this game when nobody else was shooting well. I mean, we still shot 40% from the field, and Steph put up 38 shots, which is the most he's ever put up, and that's a big testament to his endurance, his stamina in a Game 7 to be able to put up 38 shots in the way that he does with running around all the time. So
I think you also have to praise. I'll let you go as well after this. Praise Kevon Looney, because for someone to have 20+ rebounds in 3 games, 2 of them on the road in an environment and with a team that was horrible on the road during this, I think is huge.
See, that's why I want you to let me talk. Go ahead.
well, and also he had 3 20+ rebound games against the guy who just won Rebounder of the Year.
Sabonis should give that trophy to Looney.
Go ahead.
This is where I'm
Take
Steph
off.
in.
Okay.
First, when we talk about Steph in the Game 7,
Is this Lakers Day or is this?
this is just,
It's Lakers Day, bruh.
but this is just Zay. This is just me.
All right,
period.
for sure.
There's no such thing. But listen,
Okay.
when you talk about Steph, I could tell by the first quarter that he was going to do whatever he needed to do in order for them to win that game. So yeah, he really did need all 50. All 50? No. He needed
I know what you're saying.
he needed 48 for sure.
Yeah.
He needed 48 for sure.
Right.
But to break the record, he didn't need the last 2 minutes. But he needed the 48 for sure. And That's what the Warriors asked of him in that game, and he delivered. But at the end of the day, the Warriors wanted it more.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, to you, Blake, for a fan aspect, cool, they overachieved, yada, yada, yada. But if they're in that locker room right now, by All-Star break, they knew they were legit. By the end of the season, they were the 3rd seed. By game 2, playing in the first round,
They're up 2-0 against the defending
up
champs.
2-0, they knew they had a chance. They knew that they were legit,
Yeah.
right?
Smash.
And then, all right, they go home. You feel me? The Warriors win. That was 2-2. But then, game 5. How do you lose on the road?
Lose at home.
I mean, yeah, how do you lose at home if you're the Kings? This is the worst road team in the NBA.
Yep.
But again, also, I want to jump in. Sorry not to cut you
Go
off,
ahead,
but
go ahead.
worst road team in the NBA agreed in the regular season of 2023. You also got to realize that it's different in the playoffs.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
the,
for sure.
the Warriors at this level, at the age of their core, they don't get up for every game in the regular season. They don't even play every game in the regular season.
That's
There was a
also
lot of load
fair.
management.
Yes.
We were missing Wiggins for half the year. We didn't have GP2
And we know
on the
that
roster.
the Warriors is a team that thrives off energy.
Oh yeah, and on the road in the playoffs, they're one of the best teams historically.
sure.
Winning,
Yeah.
they've won a game on the road in every playoff series. I think their last 28 playoff series, they've won a game on the road. It's an NBA record, all time. So I
But
agree.
back to what I was saying though, but the Kings, they allowed 2 on the road.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
the Warriors were able to win on the road twice, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they just wanted it more. You can't tell me. You just like, as a man, as a competitor, as an athlete, you can't tell me that Sabonis wanted to win that game more than the Warriors.
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh, no.
He
Yeah.
would have dropped his nuts and got some rebounds. It was one-on-one. It was Looney.
No.
Looney dominated that game. Yes, they needed all 50, but they knew they needed all 22 of those rebounds, 21 of those rebounds from Looney.
Like,
yeah.
He dominated that game. He dominated the entire series, and that's the only reason why the Warriors won. Because, like I said last show, I think the Kings were a better team.
They were most
They
definitely
were.
the better team.
All around.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, all around their role
Yeah.
players played way better than the Warriors.
Way
The
better.
Warriors role players didn't play well at all.
But the Warriors wanted it more, and at the end of the day,
I-
they got that championship pedigree.
I do 100% agree that Looney won. The fact that Looney was able to win his battle with Sabonis, and honestly, I don't think it was really that close. Being that Sabonis he's an all NBA player. I think he was snubbed from being an all-star starter at the power forward position. I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised if he makes first team all NBA as the power forward. I think could be the best power forward in the NBA. But the third quarter of Game 7 is where that game was lost for the Kings. Remember, the Kings were up by 2 going into half. The Warriors were up by 10 to finish the third quarter. Clay hit that and 1-3. That was nuts. But Looney had 10 rebounds alone in the third quarter, 7 offensive. Guess how many Sabonis had in the third quarter?
0.
Donut.
0 points, 0 rebounds in the third quarter against Looney, who is the 33rd highest paid center in the NBA.
What, he got
Crazy.
a 2-year, $10 million contract in
Yeah.
the offseason, I believe.
Yep.
I just will say that next contract he gets, he better get. His agent better help him get money because he deserves it. If not, fire that agent on the spot.
Well, he signed less to be with the Warriors because he values winning.
No. I'm just saying, though, if he wants to go get a contract, because I think he should get one, whether it is from the Warriors or someone else, he better
Gotta
get
be
his
from the
money. If
Warriors.
not, you fire that agent.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the thing is, well, we'll get into that later with the Warriors because they owe a lot of people money, so it would be really tough to pay Looney. They're getting away with what his money is now. So now that this series is over, and a lot of respect to the Kings because they pushed the Warriors really hard. There was a lot of doubts in my mind after those first 2 games.
Absolutely.
We had to sit here on front of the cameras, and Garrison and I were. I didn't feel great. Garrison basically counted out the Warriors. He was saying the Kings are going to
I had a feeling that the Kings were gonna like take it over because
Yeah.
like being down 2-0, you don't have much faith in your team at that point anyway, especially the way that they won.
Right, and the fact that we had to win a game on the road, and
Had
there
to.
was a lot of doubts about us being able to win on the road because
we
of
hadn't
this
done
regular
it.
season. Yeah.
So like it's a different feeling when you go into game 7 as opposed to you being down 2-0 and having to win on the road. I'm sorry, not on the road, just having to win at home and then go on the road again, having to win.
I think, in my opinion, Game 3 was the swing game. No
it was.
Draymond. The
No
fact that
Draymond.
Draymond got suspended
Yeah.
and the Warriors were still
Yeah, I
able to
agree
win
with
that
you
game.
100%.
The Kings needed to stomp on the Warriors
Right
and
there.
basically just chop the head off, go up 3-0, and that series would have been over.
I don't disagree in a bad way.
Up 3-0, you don't think the Kings win the series?
No. I'm talking about the game. I'm going back to the game. No. You said game 3. I thought game 5 was bigger than game 3.
But the fact that even if you win game 5, you're up what 3-2.
So you're saying
you're up 3-2 versus being up 3-0 in game 3. In game 3, you go up 3-0.
Without
the series is over. No one's ever come back from 3-0. Yeah. You go up 3-2 in game 5. Warriors still can go home and defend home court.
True. But why I say game 5, me personally, is because the Warriors came back. The series is 2-2. They took those ones at home. And Chase Center is a hard place to play. It really is.
Yeah.
So, we're not going to say that Chase Center is like Golden 1. It's a hard place to play. So you go there. But for game 5, for me, is because I said it from the start. Whoever wins on the road first is winning the series. And look what happened. I said that. So when game 5 came around, Golden State came back to Golden 1. Mm-hmm. They won. That's when I was like, well, okay, this one might be over. This is the championship pedigree and the experience and all that kicking in. Because, the Kings were potentially the better team top to bottom, and they were the higher seed and held that 3rd seed the last 2 months of the season. But, I mean, this is a team that has made the playoffs in 16 years compared to a team that's been, and I say this respectfully because I dislike the Warriors, has been running the West for the last almost 10 years. Yeah. I mean, I'm just talking the NBA.
But sure, the West
for sure. So it's like, that's how that's why I thought kind of game 5 was really the swing game. Game 3 was a very big game because you're right. No Draymond Green and they still do what they do. But it was the Warriors taking one on the road, especially in a place like Golden 1 Center. That was huge. So I thought that's why.
I can see where you're coming from because it's also true that a series doesn't start until a team wins on the road. Because, that's really the biggest thing. Like, the fact that, we were panicking, Warriors fans were panicking after we lost 2 games in Sacramento. But really, after game 5 was really when it was like, okay, this series is probably going to be over. But I still believe if the Kings win game 3, that was a huge opportunity to a team like the Warriors who are champions. You don't want to let them get deep into the playoffs, deep into the series. The deeper the Warriors go, the better they're going to play because they have better experience. More time for Andrew Wiggins and GP2 to mesh because the Kings were basically fully healthy outside of De'Aaron Fox who broke his finger. But the best time to win that series was definitely stamping it in game 3, in my opinion. Going up 3-0, the Warriors would have had no chance.
Thanks.
All right, a lot of Warriors talk. We're going to stick to it a little bit, changing into now the conference semis.
Now they got to play their arch rival.
The Lake Show. Fun fact, last time the Warriors played the Lakers in the playoffs was 1991. It was Run TMC versus Magic Johnson's Lakers.
Oh, my God.
Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond. The last time the Warriors and Lakers matched up in the playoffs, NorCal, SoCal. This is the 5th time LeBron and Steph are going at it. 4 times, obviously, in the finals from 15 to 18. Steph and the Warriors are 3-1 against LeBron in the finals. First time they're meeting outside of the finals here. So, Zay, I'll go to you here first. What are your predictions of this series? Do you think it's going to be a close one? Do you like the Lakers easily?
No, I don't like anything easy in the West. I don't like anything easy in the West. But I do got LeBron and them going to the finals. I said it since day one. But at the end of the day, they playing against the Warriors. Mm-hmm. So you already know how that goes. This could go. I think it's going to be a 6-game series. I think it's going to be 4-2. Feel me? And honestly, I think it's going to take LeBron being prime LeBron, which he showed he's capable of being.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
The main problem that the Warriors have had all year is rebounding, and that's something the Lakers do very well. I think they're a very, very tall team, and being able to contain AD and trying to keep him off the boards is going to be like almost impossible to do, and it's going to be something that's
AD is not Sabonis.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of worried. I'm very worried on that. LeBron's gonna do what he's gonna do. There's nothing you can do to stop him. He's at the point now where you're just gonna have to hope that he has a bad game. Mm-hmm. The X factor is definitely AD, and if we can keep him to a minimum at least, I think we have a chance. I don't know. Going into it, I felt really bad. At the start of this playoffs, I didn't think they were gonna get this far anyway. But now that they're here, it's shown that they do have the championship pedigree and they still have that championship DNA. And they definitely can do this. If they do it, I think it's going to be in 6 or 7. But it's my team. I got to go for my team. So I got them in 6 or 7, one of those.
So I don't think it's a 7-game series. And truth be told, it wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers or it doesn't matter which team comes out. It wouldn't surprise me. It's just going to be kind of a who wants it more, who's got the better team. Yeah. I mean, you guys kind of just went over all the comparisons. And the all-time record 3-1 in Warriors' favor, or Curry's favor, over LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to give it to the Lakers just because, and I kind of made this point, I think, when we were talking about when they were playing the Grizzlies, they're just bigger. But I know, I saw what the Warriors did against the Kings because the Kings were bigger, I guess. So I can't say that as my main point, but that is going to be a big point. I think AD is an X factor. Yeah. I'm just going to spice it up a little bit. I think D'Angelo Russell is a good X factor. Kind of getting back the little, his little time spent with Golden State. Maybe
he can't play. He's not going to be on the floor defensively.
Yeah, but I think
don't know who he's going to guard.
I think we see him drop. He has a 30 piece.
Guard Steph. That's who he's going to guard.
No, I think Jared Vanderbilt will guard Steph.
No. Steph's going to run circles around.
Not Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt's one of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt's probably going to guard Wiggs.
Yeah.
Who's LeBron going to guard? Draymond
or Wiggs, one of those.
Yeah. All right. Well, you still have your tangent. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No.
you.
I mean, I don't really have too much pull in this series because if I had it my way, both teams would lose. But
well, I have a question. Who do you think? Who's the number one defender statistically guarding AD all time? Who do you think it is? Who would you guess? Like Giannis?
Are we talking?
Jokic.
All time?
Yeah.
The number one
AD?
defender
Guarding him?
Statistically, the number one defender who's
the
held
person who's that's been the best defender.
the best defender on AD.
Okay.
It's Kevon Looney.
It's Looney?
Oh,
It's Looney. He's number one. And number 3 is Draymond. So, in my opinion, I don't think I know AD's a phenomenal player. He's really good when he's on the court. He has been a little inconsistent at times offensively. Defensively, he's a problem. Right? He had 24 blocks in 6 games.
Yeah.
He averaged 4 blocks a game last series. So
insane.
And the Warriors are definitely prone to getting blocked. Jordan Poole got blocked a lot trying to get to the rim. Draymond, a lot of guys really.
Yeah.
But offensively, I think the biggest X factor is going to be Austin Reeves for the Lakers because he's going to have to keep up with a Klay Thompson or a Jordan Poole. He's going to be probably their second or third best scorer like he has been. I think the Lakers' role players are better than the Warriors. I think it's similar to the Kings where the Lakers are a deeper team than the Warriors. The question for me, LeBron's ankle didn't look healthy in that series. He kind of coasted by. The Grizzlies were not healthy. He was able to just coast and, get his 20 and 8 and 8. AD had to work really hard to finish that series, and he had a really tough matchup against Jaren Jackson, who won DPOY. But, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased, but I also just believe that every single time we've been in the playoffs, we've gone to the NBA Finals. It's just honestly, it's just facts. Since 2015, the only teams that LeBron too, but the only times we haven't gone to the finals is when we lose in the play-in or don't make the playoffs at all. So, a big part of me really believe in history, the fact that the Warriors have done it for so long now. But LeBron too. LeBron has done it too. He went to 8 straight NBA Finals.
LeBron has done it too, and KD done it alongside of Steph. He doesn't have a Kevin Durant
for 2
this
years,
year.
3 years.
Yeah, right. He doesn't have a Kevin Durant this year. Of course he's capable, and Steph's still going to dominate. But I think this series is really going to come down to interior. Oh, yeah. And we couldn't shoot for more than half the. We still can't really shoot. The Lakers can't really shoot. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. So we were forced to be dominant inside. That's why we were highest free throw shooting per game or something like that. We shot pretty much the most free throws out of everybody because we can't shoot. So we're forced to dominate the interior. And I think this is where this series is going to be dominated at, in the interior, because Steph is going to get his. He's going to dominate the perimeter.
Exactly.
That's what he does. There's no stopping Steph.
Right.
If he wants to get his, he's going to get his. But in the interior, I don't think you guys are strong enough or big enough to bully us like you guys did the Kings.
I would agree. The other thing I would argue is the fact that the Warriors are the best three-point shooting team in basketball, and the Lakers are one of the worst defending the three-point shot in the regular season this year, at least. I don't know the specifics for the playoffs because the Grizzlies had no shooters.
None.
They had 0 shooting.
Is that for the entire year? Or
That was for the year.
Because when we look at
Because
since we
you're
made our
right.
trades,
100%.
we were.
But you could say the same
one or
thing about
two
the
of
Warriors.
best defensive team.
You said the same thing about the Warriors for the regular season because we weren't healthy. We didn't have Wiggins. We didn't have GP. We're a different team.
True.
But
It's gonna be a great series.
It's going to be a
I
great
can't
series.
wait.
I think this is going to go 6 or
Great
7
series.
games, 6 at the least. I don't think this series goes just 5 games
No.
unless something crazy happens. But
Someone gets hurt. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great series. So you have the Lakers in 6.
Yes, sir.
You have 7 Lakers.
I'll take Lakers in 7. Yeah.
And you have Warriors in 6 or 7.
Yeah, one of those.
I'll take the Warriors in 6.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 6 or 7 games for sure. And it's going to be interesting.
I think that whoever wins this series goes to the finals.
Yep. I was gonna chime in with that.
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
I know.
can
I know
agree
you
with
are
that.
very high on the Nuggets
you
right
guys
now,
said
and you
the
have
same
very
thing
good
about
reason.
the Suns and Clippers.
Yeah, you have very good reason.
Should we use this as a segment to move
Yeah,
on
let's
to
go.
that series?
Let's go to it.
Oh,
Let's go
okay,
to it
for
right
sure.
now. So Nuggets win the second game. They defend home court, 2-0 against the Suns. Nuggets are 6-1 now in the playoffs, just losing that one game to Minnesota, I believe, in Game 3.
Yeah.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on this series? Are you panicking? Or are you just Nuggets defending home court? Hats off to them, or
Game 1 went exactly how I thought it was going to go. This is 2 very powerful offensive teams. And like I said, I think the Nuggets just have a little bit more defense than the Suns. And when it came to the last final stretch of the first game, Game 1, they outlasted the Suns defensively. And that's what took them over the top. Now, Game 2, the Suns were able to hold them to the least amount of points in the first quarter for the entire season.
Yeah.
So I thought the Suns could potentially, change from that offensive-minded team into a defensive-minded team in order to win this series. But like Game 1, down the stretch, defensively, the Nuggets, they were just more active, and I feel like they just wanted it more. And I just think that's how the series is going to go. It's going to be a defensive-minded series because these are 2 very potent offensive teams.
I agree with that. I think it's also going to come down to, because we kind of talked about it, the Suns' lack of depth compared to Denver's actual depth. I mean, Denver has pretty solid depth, so I mean, those depth
probably
players.
the best depth in the NBA?
I
They're up there for
I
sure.
agree. I think in the playoffs they're the best team, unless I'm drawing some blanks. But
in the regular season too, but you guys just didn't want to believe me.
yeah. So with that being said, though, it's going to depend on that depth to step up because I mean the Suns have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton has those games every once in a while where he drops 20 and 16, but then disappears again. So you might get that. You really don't know. So I still have faith in the Suns, but I mean the way Denver's playing the first 2 games, they look. That fraud label for me is starting to kind of go away.
I picked the Suns to go to the finals, but when that trade happened, Kevin Durant going to the Suns, because I just seeing Devin Booker, CP3, and Kevin Durant on one team is insane.
Yeah.
I did not expect them to go down 2-0 to the Nuggets. That was very weird, for me at least, because I thought very highly of the Suns. But what concerned me was how the Suns played against the Clippers in the first few games when Kawhi was healthy. So that was a big question mark. But going forward, especially now with CP3 hurt, you're asking Cameron Payne to take up that role now. And I'm not so sure if he can facilitate like CP3 can. So that leaves Devin Booker or KD to step up, really do more than what you have been doing in order to win this series. But like you said, with Denver, they are very, very deep in terms of their players, in terms of what they can do with all the players they have. And then Jokic going haywire yesterday was insane.
Yeah.
They are a very solid team, and they've proved me wrong so far. I do believe the Suns can turn this thing around just like Golden State did against Sacramento, but they got to do it now. You going back home down 2-0 and then you losing the next game at home.
Yeah, Game 3 is a must-win.
Game 3 is a must-win. You can't go down
3-0.
3-0.
In any series against any team, really, you can't go down 3-0. It's never happened.
Yeah.
No one's ever come back from 3-0.
No one's ever come back from 3-0.
You'd be defying history.
Yeah.
I think, What surprised me was the usage of KD and Devin Booker in round one, even though it was the Clippers, and really after game one, once Kawhi went down, it was kind of like, all right, the Suns should easily win this. KD and Devin Booker averaged 42 minutes a game played in that first round, which is pretty nuts. A guy like KD who's just coming off of an injury, and he hasn't played that many minutes in a long time since, he was much younger. Booker last night, 45 minutes played. Kevin Durant last night, 44 minutes played. Okay. So these guys are getting 3 to 4 minutes of sub time, like sitting on the bench, and that's really all they can have is because they need to.
This is a result of what we just said. And their bench is just
it's too weak.
Not productive at all.
It's not. They're not strong enough from top to bottom. And I've been saying this. I don't think they're strong enough from top to bottom. Yeah. DeAndre Ayton can't guard Jokic.
Yeah. Not at all.
Jokic 39, 16.
You're done.
No, Jokic is just going to bully him all night, as he should. He's the
two-time MVP. Yeah.
Right. But I think the key in this entire series is somebody that got bounced out of the playoffs last series, and he's playing for Brooklyn right now, and that's Mikal
Bridges. Yeah.
Because that was the Suns' best defensive player
by far.
And obviously, I feel like this trade doesn't go through if they don't release Mikal. But if they were able to keep Bridges on this team, then I feel like nobody can mess with them.
No one.
Because he's one of the best defenders in the league, and he's able to play all 48 minutes if you need him to.
And a shooter in Cam Johnson, someone they're really missing. Not a lot of shooting on this team. It's for the Suns. It's KD. It's Booker. I mean, Torrey Craig shot 2 threes.
Okogie, right?
Like no one else shot more than 3 threes outside of Booker and Ayton. Everybody else 0 for 2 basically. Okogie, Torrey Craig, Cam Payne went 0 for 4, Damian Lee 0 for 3 from 3. So they're definitely missing that shooting from Bridges and from Cam Johnson. And yeah, I agree. I just don't think they're deep enough. And the Nuggets are legit. I mean, Jamal Murray went 3 for 15 from the field, 0 for 9 from 3, and they still won. That's tough because nice. Jamal Murray was arguably their best player in round one. Right. I think he outplayed Jokic.
For sure was in game one of the series.
In game one of the series as well. I mean, he's been averaging over 30 points per game in the playoffs, which is better than what he did in the bubble in 2020. So he's outplaying his already historic performance in the bubble.
That's what I was going to say, just to chime in about the Nuggets, is the play they're getting from Jamal Murray, that bubble version of him, an even better one, as you just pointed out. I think even, no matter what happens with Denver, as a NBA fan and as a Denver fan, that's a great sign to see because of the injuries, and it just shows what he still has. And because a lot of people forget, too, he's more on the younger side. I think he's 25. He's super young. So, I mean, just to rely on that, even if let's just say they lose this series, I mean, he played phenomenal. And to have him back to his old self, even if, they could retool in the offseason and go back, and they could still, they'll still be a favorite for years to come with him and Jokic playing. It's just about the health.
I think Denver's fit to win right now. They've been making the playoffs, being a top seed. Jokic has been playing at MVP level for 3 years now. I really do think this is the year, and I've been saying it. I think they can totally make a run at the finals. It would not be surprising if they got past. Now, they would have to get past, obviously, the Suns in this round, and the Warriors or Lakers. And in my opinion, I think the Warriors would cause a little bit more problems because
that's crazy.
Those are tough matchups.
They're both tough matchups, but I think the Warriors would cause more problems just from the experience.
I think the Lakers would cause more problems.
I mean, just because AD.
How would you be able to defend? For Jokic's sake, how do you defend AD?
How do you wait? What?
How do you defend their bigs?
How do you defend? Yeah, exactly. How do you defend AD?
If you're the Nuggets.
If you're the Nuggets, yeah.
I mean, Jokic has been playing fine defense. He's not a huge liability.
I know, but how do you defend him? Defend AD, especially if AD wants to drop 38 points a game, or
But can he do that consistently for 4 games?
I think that's what I'm saying. That's what
can he do that for 4 games?
Golden
Can
State.
AD in a 7-game series dominate
the easier
for 4 games?
series for Denver would be against the Warriors.
Golden State, I agree.
Because I feel like Denver is the most complete team, and right behind that, I feel like the Lakers are the most complete team.
But Jokic went crazy last year against the Warriors, and we still beat them pretty soundly. It wasn't that much of a. It was a little competitive for sure, but really it wasn't. And Jokic was able to sort of get his own, and the Warriors were fine with it. Now they didn't have Jamal Murray, obviously, so Jamal Murray is a big difference maker. But I don't know. Either way, I mean, we're all,
Aaron Gordon's a complete different version.
He's
of himself this
he's
year.
been
I
a
agree.
phenomenal X factor for
sure.
in general for the
And then
Nuggets.
they finally got their boy back, MPJ.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, this is a complete different. This is all their pieces. This is a healthy Nuggets team.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Either way, it's gonna be competitive. But I definitely like the Nuggets. Anyway, going out to the East, Bucks and Heat. Starting it off, Miami wins Game 1. Jimmy Butler does go down, but that was a big Game 1 to win on the road.
Where you said Bucks and Heat.
Oh, sorry,
Knicks.
Heat and
Knicks and Heat. Oh, okay.
Knicks and
my
Heat.
fault.
We
I
already
was
did the
talking about
Bucks.
Yeah,
We did the
no, I
Bucks.
thought we were going to talk back about.
Yeah, my apologies. Heat and Knicks. Game 2 is tonight. Heat are up 1-0.
No Jimmy tonight.
No Jimmy Butler. He's already ruled out, but they already stole one on the road, so I think they're going to be all right, even if the Knicks win this game and tie it up 1-1.
Brunson and Randle are questionable, and they
Yeah.
said Randle is more likely to sit than play. Brunson's still kind of questionable, but that's
I think the
update
Knicks
I
can win
got.
without Randle
I do
because
too.
he hasn't
Yeah.
been all that great anyway.
I think
even
there's
in round one.
it's weird because he's been shooting good, but in a way too, it seems a little less clogged when he's off the floor.
with
and the
him and
spacing.
Mitchell Robinson down
Yeah.
low. Mitch by himself down low is amazing.
But,
I love Mitchell
but
Robinson.
Randall has been like, when he's been asked to space, I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
been shooting the 3-ball really good, but it does still feel a little cloggy even
Mm-hmm.
with him being able to space. And I know that
It's a big body.
And he's a
Yeah.
streaky shooter too,
that's a thing
He's definitely a
too.
streaky
Yeah,
shooter.
definitely streaky.
but he can definitely shoot. What are your opinions on this series, Zay? Heat Knicks. Who do you have coming out on top?
Well, with healthy, I got Heat, but I don't know about Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually this is a guy that he'll play, even if they got a 1-game advantage. Like, this is a guy that's gonna play through those types of injuries. So I don't know how serious this is. I don't know if they just want to be like he can rest because they have that 1-game advantage. But I think Miami is a more complete team, and ever since they put Kevin Love back into the starting lineup, they've been balling.
Yeah.
I think they are on a
That's
4 or 5 game win streak with him back in the starting lineup. So I mean, they're making the right adjustments. And honestly, New York, without Randall, I don't think they're strong enough offensively.
Okay. I think the one thing I will say is that Game 3 is on Saturday, so they have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off after this game. So I think maybe that's why they're benching Butler just to get him.
it that big of a gap?
It is, yeah. It'll be Game 3 already by the Warriors-Lakers series. They have a huge gap for some reason.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
a big gap.
Is that the only
makes
game?
more
Is that the
sense.
only series that has that big of a gap?
at least
Probably.
from Game 2 to Game 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's only one game on tomorrow, the Sixers Celtics, and then Thursday Lakers Warriors, and then Friday Celtics Sixers again, Nuggets Suns. So yeah, I believe the Knicks and Heat were the first team to play in the second round.
Yes, that was
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
game.
they
The
were.
first
That was
game,
the first game.
and the Warriors and the Lakers will be playing right after them. They'll both be playing Game 3 on Saturday. So it is interesting. They have a really big break, and I think that's big for the Heat
Yeah.
to be able to get Jimmy Butler back in Game 3.
Big for
hopefully,
both teams.
Both teams, yeah.
because of the
Randall
and Brunson
and a healthy
yeah.
Brunson potentially, but I mean obviously Jimmy Butler for the Heat.
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think the only thing I have the Heat coming out of this, I think it goes 7 games. I don't see even if the Knicks were to win, I don't see really them sweeping unless something crazy happens.
Well, they
so,
can't. They're down 1-0. But yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, they
You
mean like a gentleman's
6
sweep?
gentleman's sweep, yeah, I like that. But so I have it going 7. I'm gonna give it to Miami if they're healthy, but I mean, New York has been very impressive, not just in the playoffs, but this season. I was really wrong, and I take back any slander about Jalen Brunson and that contract. I did say it was an overpay. I will eat my words. He is a phenomenal player. Dallas is definitely missing him. Luka's
Mark
probably
Cuban is
right
pissed.
now
Yeah,
punching
he's
a locker or
pissed.
something. God knows what.
That man's
But
bad.
I think this is a really kind of, between two teams that really aren't like top tier, this is a really great series. And I think it just kind of relies, like you said, Zay, on what's Jimmy Butler's health. I will say, though, Kevin Love as a buyout candidate for the Heat was very underrated, not only for them, but it kind of ruined Cleveland's depth a little bit off the bench, too. So
Right. Then we talked about a little bit
Yeah.
that on Thursday, the fact that they got Love for a bag of chips. I think that's what he said.
I think he got bought out. I don't even think he got traded.
That's right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think
yeah,
he was
did
just
get
a
bought out
buyout.
at the deadline.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, yeah. So
It's similar to no, you're right.
good pickup.
Basically what all you guys said. Jimmy Butler he's the guy that like needs to be there for Miami, and if he stays healthy, they win this series. I think. I don't think there's anyone on the Knicks that can stop him. There wasn't anyone on the Bucks that can stop him. And me personally, I think the Bucks are better than the Knicks.
Way better.
But it's all contingent on his health. He needs to he got to stay healthy in order to win this series because he's their leader. He's the guy that they go to. Not so sure if they win this game tonight with him because he's going to be out, right?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure if they win this game, but like in the next games to come, he needs to be able to play.
All I can say about tonight's game with Jimmy Butler being out, if Miami is going to win this game, and let's just say Butler's out maybe an extra game, him Adebayo, it's time to step up.
Yep.
It's been time for him to step up, honestly.
It's
Like,
really time
on,
now
man.
to kind of
Yeah.
let me take over, let me show everybody what I'm really about because
Right.
I still think he's a little bit untapped where he still has a little potential left, but you know, he's been in the league a little longer. He's still on the younger side, of course, but everybody's been kind of waiting for that. When's Bam Adebayo going to take over? You know, when's Bam Adebayo going to be the main guy for the Heat? I think now is the perfect time, and what better place than the playoffs?
Right. And yeah, in New York here in game 2.
Yeah.
And although he doesn't have necessarily a favorable matchup because Mitchell Robinson's one of the more underrated defenders,
He's been
especially at
playing
the center.
good, too.
He's been really good and a
Yeah,
rim
in the
protector
playoffs.
for sure. So a tough matchup there, but Bam Adebayo should be the best, the better player in that matchup, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised. Gabe Vincent has played really well for the Heat. He's averaging 14 and 5 and shooting 42% from 3. So he's been really good for the Heat. I think he's out of Santa Barbara. Yeah,
They're still
he's
having
out of
Lowry
Santa
come
Barbara.
off the bench, right? Or they switched that? No. Because I know Vincent started the last couple games in that Cleveland series with Lowry, and Lowry came off the bench and dropped like 30 in a game.
I think
right?
Yeah.
Lowry plays.
I think he's
today.
20.
I thought that was a
But
good
with no
role.
Butler, he could.
If he plays today, I think he's starting. I think he would start.
Ooh, Lowry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't know
he's
who
averaging
starts for
22
Butler.
minutes in the playoffs, so I think they do go Vincent, and they'll probably go
Strus?
Strus or Martin maybe in the starting
Martin,
lineup.
yeah, Martin. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about Martin.
So it should be interesting. I personally, I think New York comes back in this series. We'll see. Either way, in my opinion, both
gonna be
these
a tough
teams.
series.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a tough series, and I don't think
Tough
either of
series.
these teams are going to the finals because
No, I agree
out
with
in
that.
Philly and Boston, I think those teams are just superior.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of those teams, Philly,
Good boy.
a huge game 1. No Embiid. You want to take
asked.
over? James Harden, 45 points.
Well, you guys asked. He answered.
And you said, in quote, the best guard in the NBA, James Harden.
I feel like he's the best guard in the NBA. And he's already led the NBA in assists, and then after he led the NBA in scoring 3 times, and then again he's back to leading the NBA in assists. I mean, like, what more can this guy do to change this narrative? And if you actually watch the games, and I'm like not talking about Twitter, look at the highlights. If you actually watch the games, you can see how much of an IQ he has on defense. Like, just playing the passing lanes. It may look effortless because he's just dominating the game mentally. And that's what he does offensively. He's not a crazy freak athlete. He just dominates the game mentally. He knows what you're going to do. That's why he can create and get to the lane and get to the free throw line, which I know you hate because you sent me a highlight of a game.
2016, I think it was 2017, James Harden highlights. All of them
Oh,
just
that's
shooting free
hilarious.
throws.
It's straight free throws. I just watched a minute and 30 of the
That
man
was a
shoot
joke.
free throws.
It's a joke.
And I almost responded like, all that means is they can't guard him. But I was like, I'm not even going. I'm saving for a different day. But today's the day. James Harden. Look, 45
I knew you'd appreciate
points,
that video.
6
45
rebounds?
points, 6 assists, 1 rebound.
I think
6
he
assists,
had
1
6
rebound.
threes too.
6
On
threes.
17 of 30 shooting.
Started the game with the opening field goal. Ended the game with the closing field goal. I mean, from start to finish, he dominated. But at the same time, I mean, Celtics, they didn't play. I mean, they played well. but
Towards the end, they played well.
They
they
didn't
shot-
play well
they
enough.
shot
They
well.
shot well, yeah, exactly.
They shot
Yeah.
well. But, I mean, Philly, they was there every single inch. The Celtics never really pulled off. And when you playing with Harden and you playing with really any team in the NBA, if you let a team hang around, come fourth quarter, once they get that momentum and your crowd goes silent, it's hard, man.
And that's what's funny because Tyrese Maxey said something about that in the interview. He said, as long as we stay and hang around until the fourth quarter, we got it. Mm-hmm. We're good. That's funny how you say that because that's what he said. And it's true. Because, I mean, the Sixers team isn't like one to just mess around with, like they're just some pushovers. The Sixers team is one of the best teams, if not like one of the best constructed teams in the league. Mm-hmm. Harden just showed you why. Like, even without, in my opinion, their best player.
Yeah.
They still showed that they can do this without Embiid. Mm-hmm. So they shocked me for sure. I didn't think, like I said about Boston earlier, I liked Boston before the season or when the season started to win it all, but I don't know about them right now. I have a question mark on my dependability on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown started off hot. He started off good, and then towards the end, he disappeared.
No, he went 8 for 10 from the field.
He went 18 points in the first quarter,
right?
And then after that, he shot 3 shots for the rest of the game.
Yep.
So I mean, like you can't do that. No playoffs.
Right.
Game 1 at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what
at
that's
home.
about.
It's like, dog, you need to talk to your coach. Like, what's going on? Because just as good as Jason Tatum is, Jaylen Brown could be just as good as well, if not better.
For sure.
Like this is a guy that can give you 40, 50, like that. But what pisses me off sometimes is that it seems like they have this switch and they don't flip it, and it's just like, dude, you gotta do this. You gotta go.
It's almost like inexperience at times. It's weird because they have veterans and they have a really good team. Boston does,
right?
And I think they were 74% from the field in the first half, which was the fifth most since like 2010 in the first half of a playoff series. And at the end, they shot better than Philly. They were 58% from the field.
Right.
The biggest difference, and I was trying to talk about this in the Atlanta series, and I've been seeing it all the time with Boston here in the second half of the year and in the playoffs so far, is the way they lose games is at the end of games, and it's embarrassing. They sort of crumble. Yeah. It's the turnovers, and it's just sloppy play at the end of games. They're not able to just close it out. And that's what it was really yesterday, is 16 turnovers yesterday, and Philly only turned the ball over 6 times. So the 10 turnover difference was huge. They shot, like Boston shot 39% from 3 and 58% from the field. That should be plenty to win a game. Yeah. Without Embiid especially.
Without Embiid.
Man, all the props to James Harden. He went off this game. This was huge. Most points he's scored in a playoff game. He's had some really big playoff moments.
Paul Reed leading Philly in rebounds for the entire playoffs.
Yep, huge 13 boards last night. Another double-double. I think that's his second or third double-double of the playoffs. He's been huge.
Clutch from the free throw line at the end of the game, 4 for 4.
That's right. Those were really nothing but net, too, on all those free throws. That
you know
was
what
impressive.
really surprised me? That the Celtics didn't attack the rim and get to the interior.
In the second half especially. In the first half, Tatum was just laying it up left and right. It was easy.
And then I think it was a fourth quarter, and both teams were in a bonus at like 8 minutes. Right. 8 minutes to go, both teams. So, I mean, you got to attack the perimeter. I mean, you got to attack the interior without – this is Embiid. This is easily top 3 big man defensively in the league. Easily, right? So, I mean, that's a liability, and you've seen it. The Sixers, they had to go to a 2-3 zone because they were trying to protect the interior. They was like, let the Celtics shoot. And that's why they were getting all those open shots. They was knocking everything down, right? But I don't know why the Celtics didn't attack that interior pretty much all night long. And that's what they're going to have to do next game if Embiid doesn't play again, which I'm pretty sure he's not.
I don't know why he would play game 2. There's not really a reason for him. Yeah. They already won one on the road. And also, before I'll hand it off to you real quick, I knew Boston was in trouble when they shot almost 80% from the field and were up by 3 at half. Yeah, with no Embiid on the other side. That's a huge problem. That was like, you're not going to shoot. You're not going to repeat that performance in the second half. Yeah. They should have been up by like 20 going into the second half the way they shot the ball.
Yeah, so as the news broke, Embiid is now the 2023 MVP. That is official. First player since Allen Iverson. First Sixers player since Allen Iverson in 2001.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I broke it. Bleacher Report.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
The Apple Watches.
We were on a different series, so I didn't want to do it like that. I was waiting, but yeah. So
Chris
he won
Paul
it.
Also out game 3 through 5.
Yeah. Wow. So Embiid won it. Congratulations to him. I agree. I don't.
Finally.
I think he did already get ruled out for game 2. So I don't know if that's official, but if he does, I agree with you guys. I think he should just play it safe. Maybe celebrate the MVP a little extra, whatever he wants to do, because it's well deserved and it was long overcome. So I'll switch gears and go into the series. For me, for James Harden, he had a great game. I was very surprised 45 is his highest point in the playoffs. Is that what you
Most he scored in the playoffs, in a single game.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought
He
he
did it twice.
Did it twice against us. In
He's had a
2016.
couple big 40
I
point
thought he
games.
had a 50 in the playoffs.
No, he's had 50 multiple
Well, anyway,
times in the regular
I thought he
season,
did,
that's
and I can see that happening. So I saw, but the Harden I saw that game, we saw point guard Harden. We saw a little bit of Houston Harden. Not a little. We saw mostly Houston Harden.
Houston.
And then we kind of saw a different Harden where, he gets a lot of flack for his defense. And, yeah, he's not the greatest defender. I mean, he looked like he was hustling a little bit, showing a little fight there, more than what we've seen. A lot more than I saw when he was in Houston in the playoffs, for sure. And it's only been a game and a series. So he's looked better and he feels more comfortable. And I think him and Embiid were the perfect match for each other. They were that missing player they needed. Harden in Houston with Dwight, Chris Paul, and Russell, that didn't work. And Embiid kind of, just really having Ben Simmons. The Jimmy Butler debacle, they fumbled that, choosing Tobias Harris. That's a whole different story. But I just think that's a perfect fit, and it's a 7-game series. I don't see anybody sweeping. Boston has a chance to come back. Jaylen Brown and Tatum are, practical identical copies of each other, but I think you pointed out the inconsistency with Brown.
Yeah.
18 points in the first quarter, then 3 shots the whole game.
gotta
This is a
Vegas.
guy that has the ability.
yeah, for
this is the guy that has the ability to score, and I'm also kind of on that train where, let's just say Boston loses this series.
But you want them to
Off-season.
break it up?
Huh?
You want them to break it up?
better not.
I don't want them
No.
to. No. I don't get that. No, Syria, you don't. I don't want them to,
Neither do I.
but I
Better
think
not.
if Brown were to, if they do break it up, I think we can kind of see a similar when Harden got traded. We can see a whole new player kind of come. Even what Mikal Bridges is doing in Brooklyn. I know it was a short sample size.
yeah.
Not the defense, obviously, but
But just him.
yeah,
Him
that's what I'm
balling
saying.
out,
I
yeah.
think we could see another version of of
Jaylen
Brown
Brown.
that we haven't
Because
seen
Jaylen Brown
yet.
would be the guy on the move.
Oh, yeah,
that
no,
would be
not Tatum.
I think
No,
that
no,
would be
no, not Tatum.
one of the worst decisions Boston could do, in my
I
opinion.
agree.
I think they hit the jackpot with
Yeah.
the draft.
They
They
did.
fleeced the Nets, getting Tatum
Absolutely.
and Jaylen Brown with those draft picks. The thing too is that Tatum, who in my opinion has been super inconsistent in the second half of the year and in the playoffs a little bit. He's been better in the playoffs, but he dropped 39 and played 44 minutes and 11 rebounds and 5 assists, and they lost. That's tough because he's not going to give you 39, 40. He did last year in the playoffs, and he still can for sure, but to consistently get that is not going to happen. Brogdon had 20. Jaylen Brown had 23 on just 8 made field goals. So he was, and just 10 attempts. So I think this is a huge game for Philly. I know it's just game 1, but I think this is really massive to get this done without Embiid.
Yeah.
Get a win on the road in game 1.
Absolutely.
They can rest Embiid again for game 2 and still go home and defend home court with a 1-1 series. Unless they steal game 2, then it's gonna really be trouble for Boston.
Oh,
I already
yeah.
feel bad for Boston because I don't know if you guys know, but the Bruins in the NHL,
I saw that.
yeah.
the best
Oh my
season ever,
goodness.
and they lost in the first round
round.
to a team in Florida that doesn't even have snow. They don't even see ice
That's crazy.
at any time during the year. But anyways,
That is a huge.
yeah, I'm not a big hockey guy, but I've heard
about
that
it.
was
Yeah.
a really big upset.
I heard
so.
about that too.
It's pretty bad.
Boston's going to definitely need to take care of business in game 2. All right, well, actually, predictions. So I have Philly. You have?
Boston in 7.
I'm gonna go Philly in 7.
Oh, we know
You
where
don't
you
know who I'm rocking.
We already know
Yeah,
who you
we
rocking.
know.
I got
Come on.
Philly in 5. Not gonna lie.
Whoa,
I
five.
think,
5?
I think they're
Philly
gonna win.
in
You're not. You only giving them one game.
Wow.
Dude, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I'm getting a little aggressive here, but
I think so, but I'm
winning
not mad
game
at
1
it
on the
either.
road usually
That's pretty
I'm
big.
sticking with my pick.
All right.
Yeah,
my pick.
I'm not.
Stick with your guns.
Stick with my guy.
All right. Well, that's going to be it here on this longer edition of the Tuesday Swoop. I'm your host, Cameron Anderson, here with Zay Randle, Blake Molina, and Garrison Glenn. Thank you all for tuning in here on the Solano College Sports Network, and we'll catch you next time.